This week we have a lot going on astrologically, including a new moon solar eclipse in Virgo. All of this, an empowered moment and more in my new intuitive energy forecast for the week of Monday, September 15th through Sunday, September 21st, 2025. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, starseed astrologer and spiritual messenger, here with your weekly intuitive reading. So for this week, we're going to be using the Tarot of Dreams by Ciro Marchetti. This is going to be the main message for everyone. Your special message card this week, depending on your stone of choice, is going to be coming from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck by Colette Baron-Reed and Alberto Villaldo. So before we get into our stones of choice or the astrology of the week, which there is a lot of, let's go ahead and settle in and do an empowered moment. So if you'll all just close your eyes and consciously relax your body and clear your mind of all thoughts, visualizing golden white light all around you. This golden white light is unconditional love, compassion, healing, guidance. Let's start by taking in a deep breath and breathing in that golden white light into every cell of our bodies. As you exhale, you're letting go of all that your body, mind, and soul no longer needs. And this week in our meditation, we're going to focus on surrender and releasing and letting go of all that no longer benefits us physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. For as we near the end of this week, we have a new moon solar eclipse in Virgo, which is going to signify an initiation into new beginnings. So for this week, we want to let go of anything that stands in our way, any obstacles or challenges from the past, any old stories or patterns from this or other lifetimes. So imagine, if you will, that you have a handful of balloons in your hands. And in each one of these many balloons, you're going to put an emotion that you wish to release, an idea, thought, or perspective that you want to let go of, an old story or belief system or karmic pattern that it is time to purge from your body, mind, and energy field. So take a few moments and think about what it is that you wish to release in this week, in this cycle of energy, in this eclipse season. What do you want to let go of to make room for something new, for a new energy, a new way of thinking, perceiving, believing, and experiencing? So first place those old feelings or perceptions, those old energies, again, those old stories, placing them one at a time in each of these balloons that you might be holding on to. If you need more balloons, imagine that more appear. If you have more balloons than you can think of what to put in them, it's okay. And state in your mind what it is that you're placing in that balloon that you're going to release. I am releasing sadness. I am releasing fear. I am releasing this old pattern of. I'm releasing this belief system, an old story about. Take a few seconds and do that now, placing those energies within all of these various balloons. And state in your mind, I am ready to release and let go of what is no longer in my highest and best interest to carry forward on my soul's evolution and growth. And then release your hand and release those balloons and allow them to float up towards the highest realms of universe. Floating up to the highest spiritual realms, where those old energies are freed and liberated from your body, mind, and energy field. And you feel lighter and brighter, happy, more joyful, more motivated, more vital, more alive. And knowing that you can do this exercise on your own at any point in time. Let's take one last deep healing, cleansing, and balancing breath. As you exhale, completing that releasing that you did, and opening your eyes when you feel ready and returning to this time and place and space. And let's go ahead and look at our stones of choice. These are all special intention pendants that you can find on my website. And I decided to choose the stones, well, I've got more than this, but I decided to choose 3 pendants that relate to the solar plexus chakra, because this is a time, as we're nearing this new moon solar eclipse, that we want to take back our power, that we want to release any disempowering energies or situations in our lives and come back fully into reclaiming that sense of power. So the first stone of choice is golden apatite. And the golden apatite is wrapped in gold wire, and it's Reiki charged with the vibration of master number 11, number of the light worker, leadership, courage, and inner strength, the energies of the solar sun for a sunny disposition, bright outlook on life, and creative self-expression, the activation of the higher mental body for mental clarity and intuiting new ideas, the activation of the solar plexus chakra for willpower and confidence, and the energies of Archangel Michael, Archangel that leads us to the next step on our highest and most important destiny path. Okay, stone number 2 or pendant number 2 is beautiful amber. So the amber is also wrapped in gold wire, Reiki charged with the vibration of the number 8, which equals success in business, career, and finances. The energies of the planet Pluto, planet of taking back and or owning our spiritual power. Activation of the solar plexus chakra for courage, confidence, and willpower. And the energies of Archangel Michael for protection, releasing of lower energies, and moving forward on the next step of our destiny path. And then our last stone of choice is this beautiful golden citrine wrapped in, again, gold wire. Reiki charged with the vibration of master number 11, number of the light worker and spiritual leader to humanity. Also the number 3, number of joy, happiness, and abundance. The qualities of Jupiter, planet of expansion, growth, and opportunity. The element of fire for inspiration, creativity, and passion. The activation of the solar plexus chakra for confidence, courage, and motivation. The energy of goddess Lakshmi, goddess of good fortune, prosperity, and blessings. And the energies of Archangel Michael to assist one in stepping into their destiny path. All right, so the stones of choice again for that special message later is the golden apatite, the amber, and the citrine. So let's set that aside. There is a lot of astrological energies going on. So I'm going to try to move through this in a timely manner. On Monday the 15th, we've got the lovers Venus and Mars coming together in a positive sextile. This is one of the few positive connections this week. So Venus, planet of love, relationships, money and finances, is in Leo, confident, courageous, leadership-oriented Leo, and she's again in that positive sextile to Mars, the warrior, the planet of energy, action, and forward movement that happens to be in the partnership sign of Libra. So there's an opportunity here. Could be an opportunity with making new friends, meeting somebody new romantically. Could be about networking, socializing, opportunities to communicate in a positive manner. So this is a great way to start off the week. On Tuesday the 16th, we have Mercury, the planet that rules the mental realm. It rules all forms of communication and thoughts and ideas. And it's in Virgo right now, one of its ruling signs. And it's in a difficult inconjunct to Chiron, the wounded healer, who's retrograde in Aries right now. This happens very early on Tuesday. For those of us in the United States area, we may be feeling this as the day progresses on Monday. So Mercury, again, ruling the mental realm, and it's in this difficult connection to Chiron that rules past life wounds. And right now, Chiron being in Aries is bringing up past life wounds regarding our sense of self and our independence and our self-identity, the confidence and courage that we talked about here a minute ago. So we're needing to make some adjustments in how we think, how we perceive, how we analyze, the solutions we come up with, how we communicate, both within ourselves and with others. And then also on Tuesday, early, so again, we'll probably be feeling this Monday as well, is Venus, that planet of love and relationships, in confident, leadership-oriented Leo. And she's going to be in a connection to Chiron as well. It's considered a positive connection, but we're still dealing with Chiron, the wounded healer. So there may be things coming up regarding these wounds of self-confidence and courage and independence and self-identity that come up, but maybe we're actually able to be secure in our divine feminine energy, because Venus rules the divine feminine. So we're a little bit more able to be confident and secure in that, to move through whatever the wounds are that this is bringing up. And then also on Tuesday, we have Mars, that ruler of the divine masculine, or the masculine archetype, whether it's divine or not divine, and that energy of forward movement. And remember, Mars is in partnership sign of Libra, and it's opposing Chiron. So there's three things happening on Tuesday. They all deal with Chiron, the wounded healer. This one with Mars opposing Chiron is going to maybe bring up situations within any kind of relationship, any kind of one-on-one relationship. It could even be work and business, as well as friendship, family, or romantic, where again, we are needing more equal give and take. We are needing to recognize our own boundaries and set our boundaries when needed. We're wanting this equal exchange within our relationships. What I give out, I desire to kind of get back something equally, rather than just one person putting out all the effort and all the energy. So there's a lot going on there with healing some old wounds from this and other lifetimes. And then on Wednesday the 17th, we go back to Mercury, the planet that rules the mental realm, in its home sign of Virgo. And it's going to be opposing Saturn, the great teacher of karmic lessons. Saturn rules restrictions and limitations. It rules responsibility. It does rule manifestation and bringing something into form. But Saturn is retrograde right now, and it has recently dipped back into Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. So with Saturn ruling karmic lessons, it's already moved back into Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. I feel like this is like this last time period while Saturn is in Pisces of clearing old stories, old karmic lessons, taking responsibility where we need to take responsibility. And so with Mercury and Virgo opposing that today, Wednesday, I think that this is about really doing some self-reflection. Mercury and Virgo is very thought-oriented, very contemplative, very solution-oriented. It's this internal thinking process and analysis that's taking place. So I think we're analyzing a lot of these past karmic lessons that we've come into this lifetime with, and we're, wanting to clear and purge and release more of that energy. And then on Thursday, the 18th, we got lots happening on Thursday. Mercury, the ruler of the mental realm, the messenger planet as we know it, is moving out of Virgo now and into the sign of Libra until October 6th. So Mercury, again, all forms of communication, speaking, teaching, writing, thoughts, ideas, perceptions, and perspectives, all centered around the partnership sign of Libra. So more socializing, more collaboration, connecting with new or old friends, communications in relationships, expressing your truth in relationships. All right, and then on Thursday after that, we've got Venus, planet of love, planet of finances, in Leo, in a difficult inconjunct to Saturn, the ruler of karmic lessons, that is retrograde in Pisces. So again, there might be something coming up, either relationship related or money related, where we're needing to make some adjustments. Maybe it's an old story that we're telling ourselves, and this old story of I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, for whether it be a good partnership or abundance and prosperity through finances. It's time to kind of, again, make some adjustments and release those old stories and really take charge, like Leo likes to take charge of this situation and move through that. Take responsibility for your own, again, thoughts and belief systems and where they came from. Often they come from our upbringing with our parental figures or other adult figures in our life. Could be also past life related. But you're the one that's kind of keeping it going, so to speak. You're the one with your free will that can change the story, that can rewrite the story. And I love that phrase of rewriting your story. It's very pertinent right now with the eclipse energies this month of September. And then we've got the sun in Virgo, and it's in a difficult inconjunct to Chiron, the wounded healer. So here we've got Chiron again. And we're needing, again, to make some adjustments to bring in more healing. This could be physical healing. Maybe we're dealing with some physical body stuff. Could be emotional, mental healing, especially the mental healing of your thoughts and perceptions, perspectives, and belief systems. Could be spiritual healing, past life healing. Chiron rules, again, those past life wounds. So there's, a lot of kind of reclaiming those aspects, reclaiming those positive gifts from other lifetimes, reclaiming aspects of ourselves that may have fragmented off with old traumas and this and other lifetimes. So we're kind of metaphorically putting the pieces of ourselves back together so we can feel whole again. And then also on Thursday, we're still on Thursday, we've got Mercury newly in Libra, Mercury, the ruler of that mental realm, in the partnership sign of Libra. And it's going to oppose Neptune and then make positive aspects to both Uranus and Pluto. Now, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto are the outer planets, the generational planets, the planets that rule the collective energies, the evolution of the collective. But they do affect us personally too, especially when they're connected to that personal planet of Mercury, which rules our mind, our mental state. So I feel like with this, this is actually a little bit of a push into higher vibrational energies. They're mostly good aspects here with Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. So I feel like there's a rewiring going on. There's a death and rebirth going on. There is assistance from the angelic realm going on to kind of shift again our mindset on how we're looking at something maybe from a higher spiritual vantage point, looking at things through your spiritual eyes instead of your physical eyes. What you see physically isn't always true reality. And so with Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, I think we're kind of looking into a higher paradigm of energy regarding aspects of our lives that are transpiring right now. And then we're going into Friday the 19th. On Friday the 19th, We've got Venus, planet of love, ruler of the divine feminine energy, also ruling personal resources like money. She's going to be moving out of Leo now and moving into Virgo until October 13th. Now, Venus, the planet of love, is not the happiest in Virgo because Virgo is, again, logical, practical, analytical. Venus wants to be about love and desire and attractiveness and receptivity and, social kind of connection. And Virgo is more, again, paying attention to details and coming up with solutions, paying attention to one's diet and exercise routines or other types of routines or things that we need to get done. So, we're going to be moving through that time period here. It's not going to be quite a month. From the 19th of September till the 13th of October, we've got Venus in Virgo. She's going to be more, I want to say, particular. I don't want to use the word critical because critical is often used for Virgo, but she's going to be more particular within her relationships. She's going to state what it is that she really desires, or she's going to really unequivocally state the truth of what she sees in a very logical manner. With money, she can be more detail-oriented, making lists of to-dos, how to, balance money matters, things that she needs to get done in order to feel a little bit more mentally secure about the finances. And then also on Friday the 19th, after Venus moves into Virgo, she's going to be making a difficult inconjunct to Neptune, which rules the spiritual realm. Neptune rules illusion, delusion, confusion, but it also rules, again, our connection to the angelic realm and belief and trust and faith. But it's a difficult connection here. So Virgo, I feel like what I'm getting is that Venus and Virgo is going to be a little bit more self-critical. It's a little bit more perfectionistic, maybe with other people, but also within herself. So self-critical, self-judgmental, and this inconjunct to Neptune is asking us to surrender some of that, to shift and surrender and let go and believe that you're worthy and deserving and believe that everyone's doing that the best that they can, so to speak. Not to give someone a pass who's not being kind or nice, but to realize everyone is a soul going through their own soul's journey, their own soul's lessons. And then on Saturday the 20th, we're back to Mars, ruler of that masculine energy, the masculine archetype, the planet of forward movement, motivation, energy, and action. And remember, Mars has moved into Libra, and it's in a difficult inconjunct to Saturn, again, ruler of past life karmic wounds, who is retrograding in Pisces for quite a little while here. I think it doesn't go back to direct motion until November, but it's still going to be in Pisces for some weeks after that, even once it goes direct. So we've got, again, quite a good amount of time to clear and release and let go of these past old karmic lessons and old stories. But with this connection to Mars, and it's in the partnership sign of Libra, again, it might bring up some old stuff in our partnerships and relationships. If you're in a partnership or relationship, something may come up again, and we need to kind of move through that and heal that and communicate with the other person, no matter, again, what kind of relationship it is. If you're not in a relationship, it might be just a pattern that rears up within you, a belief system, something that you need to look at regarding how you think about or feel about or act within partnerships when you're in them. And then on Saturday the 20th, after that, we've got Venus in Virgo, and it's making a couple of difficult connections. And it's making a challenging square to Uranus, the planet of sudden and unexpected occurrences or liberation and freedom. And then it's making a difficult inconjunct to Pluto, planet of death and rebirth, transformation and regeneration. And so again, we've got Venus and Virgo being a little bit more self-critical, self-judgmental, and maybe even with other people in her life or in your life, whether you're male or female. And again, we're moving through some challenging energies, and maybe there's this spurt of independence and wanting to free yourself from something, or maybe we're going through some subconscious healing with the connection to Pluto. And then the sun in Virgo is going to be in an opposition to Saturn, ruler of responsibility, challenges, limitations, in Pisces, again, retrograde right now. So again, just another indication here. There's a lot of things with Chiron this week. There's a lot of things with Saturn this week that are coming up, and we're in Virgo season. And again, Virgo is this fragmented energy where we're reclaiming those pieces of ourselves and coming up with new solutions, paying attention to the fine details of how we think and perceive and communicate and believe. And so there's a lot of healing going on this week. And we end on Sunday, the 21st, with the new Moon Solar Eclipse at 29 degrees of Virgo. This is the last degree of Virgo. So the last time we had a new moon, it wasn't an eclipse, but a month ago, we had a new moon at 0 degrees of Virgo. Now we're having that new moon solar eclipse at the last degree of Virgo, 29 degrees of Virgo. So there's kind of a completion to a cycle of energy here, the completion of a story that's kind of going on. Virgo wants us to be healthy, right? And it's physical health, it's mental health. And let's just go ahead and include emotional and mental, spiritual health as well. But Virgo wants us to pay attention to our routines and do what we need to be healthy. If that's changing our diet, if that's adding an exercise routine or changing that up, if it's journaling for emotional health, if it's counseling or communication with someone who's supportive for mental health, if it's doing meditation or other spiritual activities or exercises for spiritual health. This new moon solar eclipse is initiating a new cycle of energy. Now, 2 weeks ago, we had the full moon lunar eclipse, which activated an ending, a releasing, a letting go. And remember, with eclipses, both the full moon lunar eclipse and now this new moon solar eclipse, it's not just the day of, it's not just a couple days before and a couple days after. It's going to be an ongoing energy that is unfolding in the weeks to come. So paying attention to what is being released and let go. What do I need to surrender? Where do I need to trust and have faith in the divine plan unfolding? And what can I do now with the solar eclipse coming to initiate new action, to initiate new ideas, to move in a different direction, to think in a different way, to experience and act in a different way in life? So that solar eclipse is opposing Saturn, ruler of karmic lessons. It's opposing Neptune, which is about kind of like our inspiration and kind of, our connection to the spiritual realm. It's going to also be making positive connections to Uranus, the Great Awakener, and Pluto, the Great Transformer. So that is everything that is going on this week astrologically. So yes, that was a lot. Let's go ahead and take a look at the messages from our angels and guides from the Tarot of Dreams by Ciro Marchetti. So the first card, this one, they all actually fell out of the deck. So the first card that fell out of the deck when I was shuffling was the Hanging Man. This is Major Arcana 12. It's the Hanged Man in the traditional tarot. Not far off with what they call it in this deck, Hanging Man. And this is about looking at things from a different perspective. It's also about surrender. The Hanged Man is hanging upside down. Usually it's from 1 foot by a tree branch. This one, it has both of its legs straight up, and there's no tree here, but it's definitely hanging upside down, right? So if you were to stand on your head physically right now, you would see the room or your environment from a whole different vantage point. You'd be seeing it with kind of new eyes. Everything would be kind of upside down, topsy-turvy. And so the Hanging Man is sort of like that. It's about looking at the circumstances of life unfolding, your life, how you operate in your life, the karmic lessons that you've come in with and what you're moving through, healing. And this is about, again, looking at it from a higher spiritual perspective or a different vantage point. There is an aspect of surrender here. There is kind of an aspect of a pause here, which is fitting since this is the week that's leading up to the new moon solar eclipse. There's going to be a lot of releasing and healing. We're going to need to trust and have faith in that process. We're going to need to surrender and let go. Surrender to the divine plan, surrender to the divine timing, and let go of what we no longer need to hold on to. So this is kind of stating all of that. This card in this deck is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is that planet that rules the spiritual realm, that rules trust and faith, that rules surrender, but also rules illusion, delusion, and confusion. So if you're upside down, standing on your head, or hanging upside down, you might be a little confused because things aren't going to make any sense. And that's going to be another indication of this card message. Is right now things may not be making any sense. There might be circumstances unfolding that are confusing you and that are just not clear. Neptune is like wearing rose-colored glasses where we don't see things clearly. And maybe we don't hear communications from others clearly. We don't see our path forward clearly, which is why we have to surrender. So this is a big kind of time of trusting in what's going to come next when we don't know what's coming next. We're letting go, releasing, and purging, or the circumstances of the universe are, what do I want to say? Removing things from our life, situations or relationships from our life. And we're left with why, the question of why. We're left with what's next. We're left in that kind of void where we're in the in-between state of the ending and the new beginning. And that's kind of what this Hanged Man is all about. Let's look at the next card here. And the next card is another major arcana. It's major arcana 14. It's Temperance. And Temperance, the main kind of key phrase for Temperance is about moderation and balance. Staying balanced throughout the energies that you're experiencing. Not doing anything in extremes. Practicing moderation, practicing again that balance. So this is ruled by Sagittarius, and Sagittarius rules our belief systems. I feel like it goes back to the Hanged Man a little bit, right? Our belief systems and looking at things from a different perspective. So this is about expanding your perspective. Sagittarius wants to expand into a bigger picture of everything, which is kind of like the bigger spiritual picture. What's the bigger spiritual picture here? What is your soul learning through some of the challenges that you might be going through right now? And so doing some contemplation, self-reflection, and meditation. Meditation is also going to help you to stay balanced. We've got the Temperance Angel here with this vessel of fire up here, and then this vessel of water down here with a rainbow connecting them. Now the elements of fire, which rules the spiritual realm and inspiration and creative self-expression and passion and leadership. Usually that element doesn't get along really well with water. Water is emotions and feelings and empathic ability and intuition. They can connect because of this, and they both are intuitive, right? But also if you just think about the elements by themselves, water puts out fire, or fire when applied to water could create a different element, steam, which brings us to another key phrase for alchemy. Well, for temperance is alchemy. There, I said it backwards. So temperance is about alchemy. It's about taking two different energies, and sometimes they might feel like they're opposing energies, and combining them in such a way to create something new. So we're needing to take our passion, our leadership, our confidence, our courage of the fire, and we're needing to add it to the sensitivity, the intuition, the empathy, and paying attention to our emotions. And if we combine those two in a way that brings something new and positive, we've created a new way to think, believe, express, experience what we're going through. But again, in a nutshell, I'm going to say with all the energies happening right now that end this week with a new moon solar eclipse, stay balanced, don't go to extremes, and do things in moderation. Let me see if there's anything else here. Of course, the rainbow to me symbolizes hope. The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, new opportunities. If you can kind of balance that, moderate your own energies, and combine these two differing sort of situations in your life or energies within yourself, if you can combine them in such a way to create something new and beneficial, then this hope and the opportunities and the blessings and the abundance will come in. Ask your angels for help. We've got an angel on this card. So ask your angels and guides for assistance to stay grounded, to stay balanced. All right, and then the last card. Now, this last card, it fell out of the deck, and it fell out of the deck reversed. So I asked my angels and guides if this was supposed to be read reversed, and they said yes. So it's Major Arcana 10. It's the Wheel of Fortune. So this is what it looks like upright, right? The Wheel of Fortune, which is usually about a positive shifting of the wheel, some new beginning coming in, something fated occurring. Now, it doesn't mean that it's negative or bad if it's reversed necessarily. What I feel from this is that there just might be a delay. I feel like there's a delay in moving forward, or a delay with the new events or the new path unfolding, which makes sense again because this week ends with a solar eclipse. So we still may not know for some time, some days, maybe even some weeks to come what that new path is going to entail. Sometimes this card reversed, Wheel of Fortune reversed, can also mean that we're stuck in an old pattern, right? The Wheel of Fortune wants us to shift out of that pattern, and normally would indicate that we are shifting out of the old story and the old patterns, and we're moving forward into something positive and beneficial, which is shown by Jupiter up here in the corner. Jupiter rules prosperity, abundance, opportunities, blessings. But if it's reversed, we might get stuck in an old story. We might get stuck in a pattern, a karmic pattern that we just can't seem to release, which might be a situation or a relationship that we can't release. Or maybe there's aspects within the situation or relationship that we can't release. Because it doesn't necessarily mean we have to end that particular situation or end that particular relationship. Maybe it just means there's a pattern that you keep, and the other person, if there's another person, keeps coming up with and playing out over and over and over again like a hamster wheel. And this is saying, we're stuck. We got to move beyond that stuckness. What can we do to move beyond the stuckness and move forward? But eventually, I think after the delay, and if we apply our focus and effort on removing the old story, rewriting the story, releasing the old pattern, doing our internal house cleaning, so to speak, then we can turn this upright and we can say, okay, now we're going to move forward. Now we're moving forward into something new, into these new blessings, this new opportunity, whatever this new beginning is going to represent. This is like a compass too. It's like, are you pointing your true north right now? Whatever situations or circumstances you find yourself in, are you operating from your authentic self and from your authentic truth? And are you pointing towards your true north? Okay. So if not, again, you're stuck, and we need to do what we can to redirect or realign and move into that true north energy. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the special message depending on your stone of choice. Okay, let's give this a quick little shuffle here. And the first pendant of choice was the Golden Appetite. Special message for Golden Appetite people. This one on my bottom here, calling my attention. It's Wailing Tree, and it says reconciliation. Reconciliations. So to me, whenever I see this card, and even right now when I see it, the Wailing Tree, you can see there's this distraught human face within this ancient tree. So it feels like there's some old ancient, again, stories or patterns. And ancient because the tree is huge. It's ancient, right? And the Wailing Tree part is that this has maybe gone on for several lifetimes. These karmic lessons, the challenges, the frustrations, the feeling stuck and going round and round, within a certain story or pattern. And our soul is crying out to let it go. To me, this is the Wailing Tree. Our soul and our ancestors are crying out for you to let it go. Because maybe this is an ancestral pattern. And once you release it, you're helping to release it for a whole line of your ancestry. And whether that's your genetic and biological ancestry, or whether this is your spiritual ancestry, I feel like there's a great healing that you're on the precipice of. You're getting ready to release something huge, and it's going to have a very profound effect. Now, as I look at this, I mean, we are in September, but this just has the colors of fall to me, right? The golden yellow, the orangey, like it's almost like the leaves on the tree are turning color. So it feels like maybe by the end of fall, before we get to the winter solstice, maybe this is the time period that it's going to take to really release this old, ancient, and or karmic wound or cycle. And that again makes sense because remember, Saturn is the teacher of karmic lessons, retrograde in Pisces until I think it's mid-November and turns back to direct motion. So this might be the period of time with Saturn being retrograde in Pisces that you're doing this healing, this releasing, this huge and profound, growth for your soul. I feel like, again, this relates also to, again, taking back your power, but also reclaiming those aspects of your soul that have fragmented off or split off from old traumas in this lifetime, from old negative circumstances and karmic situations in past lifetimes. So you might want to think about getting hypnosis or hypnotherapy, past life regression, or shamanic journeying, shamanic healing, or just doing some real heavy duty journaling with your subconscious and asking your higher self to come in to kind of guide that session, calling in your ancestors to assist with the healing process as well. All right, let's put that back in the deck in case somebody else gets it. The second stone of choice was the amber. Special message for this week for amber people. Amber people. This one's calling my attention. Nope, they won't let me pull that one. So we're gonna continue to shuffle for a moment and ask for the special message for amber. Okay, this one on the bottom wants to come out. Yeah, dust devil. And it says moving out of stagnation. So if you think about dust everywhere, right? And think about, sometimes when you sweep with an old time broom and all of a sudden you've got this whole dust cloud that's happening in your house or in the garage or wherever it is you're sweeping. So there's this kind of this dust which we can't see through. It's this energy that we don't really want to breathe in. We don't want to really be around that dust. It's indicating some old energy that we're trying to clear by sweeping it away, but sometimes we're just creating more of a dust storm with it. But this, in fact, has a good message. We are moving out of this stagnation. The stagnant energy, the feeling of being suspended in suspended animation and kind of needing to surrender and not being able to move. You are starting to move. I feel like you're starting to move by the end of this week when we reach the solar eclipse. And this also obviously is a desert, right? There's a lot of dust or sand in the desert, which is why there's sometimes a lot of sandstorms or dust storms in places that are dry and arid. So I feel like maybe you've been in an emotional desert. Maybe you've been disconnected from your emotional body or your feelings, or maybe you've purposely disconnected yourself from your emotions or feelings because it's been too difficult or challenging to feel them or look at them. I feel like you really need to immerse yourself in that. I feel like this week with all of the energies going on this week, astrological energies, you are maybe going to be led to kind of immerse yourself into the emotions and the feelings. And that might kick up again this dust storm a little bit, but it's going to move you out of that stagnation period. It's going to move you out of that feeling of disconnect from within yourself so that you can move forward. We need to clear things, clear old stories and old emotions before we can move forward. So this is just an indication that you're going to be able to do so. And there's this little golden light in the center of this dust storm. So, I feel like this is you and your confidence and courage, that solar plexus chakra of confidence and courage that's rising within you saying, okay, I feel like I can do it now. I got the strength. I got the inner strength. I can move through this healing process of these emotions. And it's time to do so I can move forward. All right, let's put that back in the deck. And let's take a look at the citrine, right? So we're going to give this a shuffle. Special message for the week for citrine people. Wow, this one just sticking right up, isn't it? So let's pull that out. And it says jeweled web and connectivity. So the first thing that pops into my mind here is knowing that we are all interconnected as human beings, human souls, spiritual souls, I should say. And we're connected with everything too, like Earth Mother Gaia, the mountains, the sea, the flowers, the trees, right? There's this connectivity between us all. And because of this connectivity, what comes into mind is that what's happening on a collective level, on a level with the earth and weather changes and earth changes, but also what's happening on a collective level with people all around the world and big events and wars and, you know, things that we're feeling in communities. And you might not even be in the know of what's happening, right, all around the world. Maybe you're someone like myself that doesn't really immerse yourself in the news every day, but you are so connected empathically to everyone and everything that you're feeling this energy. It says jeweled web. Now, it can be challenging to empathically feel what the collective is feeling and going through, what the earth is going through, the changes that she's going through. But there's also blessings in disguise, which is, to me, jeweled web. Jewel feels like there's a blessing, like a gift. So I feel like there's a gift and connectivity here. So even though it can be challenging to be so empathic, and this can be not just with the collective, maybe it's with your family and friends. You know, you're very empathic to what they're going through. So even though being empathic and feeling other people's feelings or pain or difficulties, or it affects you, that can be challenging, but I feel like there's also gifts in our connectivity, right? There's blessings in having a support system. There's blessings to being able to connect with nature or with the animals, right? And to be able to send telepathic messages of love or to send Reiki or other types of healing energy to the world. So they want you to pay attention to, there's still many blessings with this web, this jeweled web that we belong to, even though sometimes it can be very challenging. I feel like they're saying the more empathic you are to feeling some of this pain or the challenge that the world might be going through, the stronger you are in also projecting the healing energy. And whether you know Reiki or not, you can always send unconditional love, compassion, forgiveness, whatever, these positive energies you can project and send to the world, to humanity, to your friends, to your family. Just project that healing energy. Okay, so I hope you've all enjoyed this. I know it was a little bit longer, but there was a lot of astrology this week. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for your comments, your love, your support. I love each and every one of you, and I am so happy that you're all in my life. Thank you for everything over the years. Not that I'm going anywhere. I don't know where that came from. Sending you much healing in this week as we near this new moon solar eclipse, everyone. Get ready for some new beginnings. Namaste.